All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Saturday Standouts. My name is Caleb Skinner. With me, as always, and he even is here when I'm not here. My co-host Ethan Carbone, one of my best friends here in the Unwrapped Sports Network, joining me as always. I've missed a few weeks. Ethan has stood in admirably, also bringing in some special guests along the way from the Unwrapped Sports Network for the Pac-12, Big 12, talking all kinds of big stuff. So that was awesome. Tonight, we're going to be getting into a little ACC preview later on. But before we get into that, we got a special interview for you guys. So I'm going to toss it over to Ethan real quick. Let him introduce you to himself. Let him, say what's up to you guys and introduce, our special guest and our guest of honor who's going to be joining us here in just a little bit.
All right, what's up, guys? Just follow me on Twitter at Ethan_Carboni. I just want to get right into this. Welcome, Jordan Thomas, former star quarterback of the Oklahoma Sooners.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. How are you?
I'm great.
All right.
What you guys got going? What you guys got for me today?
All right, Ethan, I'll let you lead it off, buddy.
All right, just starting it off, I'm pretty sure I already asked you this, but growing up in Texas, why do you choose your state's most hated state rival in Oklahoma? How do you manage to do that? And you'd think disappoint all those people in Texas is they get disappointed anytime someone from Texas goes to Oklahoma.
Oh man, so that one was tough. I mean, not necessarily. Again, back in the day, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, and I don't know if this is actually a real thing, but this is what exactly I was told. This is what my ears were filled with, and it was one of those things that Mac Brown, and God forbid me, Mac Brown, I'm not trying to slander your name by no means, but this was the word around town, was that he would essentially recruit players, but for whatever reason they wouldn't play, and they would be 5-star players. And so in my mind, I was going to be one of those players who was going to get recruited and then not have the chance to play. So right then and there, kind of turned me off of it, and I was just like, well, let me explore my options. And then that's when push come to shove. Oklahoma is just thrown in my face, and I go up there, take a visit, and that was that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're going to Oklahoma and coming to college. You looking at your stats every day. You had a pretty good career, man. You started 4 games your freshman season, which is awesome. Played in all 13, and then you really showed out your sophomore year. So tell us a little bit about that sophomore year. It probably meant a lot to you. As the biggest season of your collegiate career.
No, for sure. So my sophomore year, actually, we had a coaching change, and we went from Bobby Jack Wright to Kerry Cooks. I will say that that kind of coaching change kind of helped me a lot, simply because Coach Wright, he definitely was super traditional. He had his own older style. I won't say older style, but he had his own way of play. And, Kerry Cooks, he had a kind of different style of play. And he kind of gave me a little bit more freedom to kind of like, just explore what you can do, what I'm saying? Use all the tools in your tool belt, be the best that you can be, obviously be smart, but again, attack it and be fearless. And, obviously I get out there and, you get the little swag, I'm a year in, I got some experience, I know the game now, kind of, it kind of gave me that confidence. And then, when you step out that field and then you make that first play, it's almost like contagious. It just kind of keeps coming back to you all the time. It's just never ending.
Yeah. And then looking up, obviously Oklahoma, historic program. Lately, they've had a lot of success in the regular season, but towards the playoffs, you made the playoffs. So what was it like making one of the first college football playoffs and being able to play in it?
Okay, so that was actually super awesome. I was super proud to be like, hey, I went to the first ever college football playoffs. I was a part of it, all thanks to my team. And, obviously we had a great quarterback, a great running back, a great receiver, a great offensive line. I mean, I can just name everyone on the team, but again, that was super cool for me to just experience and be like, hey, you are quote unquote a pioneer of college football playoffs. You were a part of the very first ever when this ever was invented. So that was kind of huge. That was, I guess like a milestone, if you will, in my life that I could just remember. But yeah, no, but being in the playoffs was amazing. It's you're one game before being a world champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a world champion, but you know what I mean? A collegiate champion. And that's, obviously everyone's dream. And I was there. I've tasted it. I've smelled it so close, and just never made it out there.
Yeah, and my Knowles made it that same year, and then we had to face Oregon. Didn't turn out too pretty for us. So that was a bit of a disappointment for me, much like it was for you guys,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But going back and looking at some of the players that you've played with, I mean, going up against some of these guys in practice, you look at Marquise Brown, Charleston Rambo, C.D. Lamb, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. All these guys are on that. I mean, Trace. That's when Trey Sermon was still at Oklahoma as well. A little bit of that time too. So the amount of names that we see now that a lot of them are in the NFL, and that's crazy to think about. What was it like competing against them, on a daily basis in practice? And are there any guys that stood out while you were on the team that you were really good friends with, or kind of push you to hit that next level in your game?
All of them, I guess, no, but for sure. It was hard to be around so much greatness and then not follow suit. It was either get with a program or get left behind. And I have FOMO. You're not leaving me. You're not leaving me out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? So let me get to the front of the line. But no, just having the opportunity to play against those people, don't forget about the Sterling Shepherds, although he was there when I was there, Wow. Another sleeper, Dorial Green Beckham, was there. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was a transfer from Missouri. Yeah. And then, kind of got out of there after that. But, just honestly, Sterling kind of put me, that was like my first taste of, hey, like, you got to want better for you, because, I mean, it would be at the point I was a freshman and they would be like, all right, go guard our best receiver. I'm like, okay, I guess, like, I can't tell you no, what I'm saying? So, I would be out there covering him, and, he would, I guess he saw that I had some potential or whatever. And, so he kind of took me under his wing, but, we would be doing one-on-ones, or I'd be covering him and he would mix me up. And then mid route, he'd be like, you got to be more patient than that. And obviously proceed to continue his route, catch the ball. And I'm like, all right, well, that kind of made me like, all right, well, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want no one else to have to do that to me. So like, let me get my stuff together. Like, let me get it going.
Kind of piggybacking off my last question for you, like you already mentioned, like Lincoln Riley came in during the middle of your tenure at Oklahoma. So like, and you also play in the college football playoff, but Oklahoma, I believe, is yet to win a college football playoff game. As sad as that is, because I want someone to dethrone Alabama. That's not LSU. Like,
right.
How do you feel about like the sort of stigma that Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma have that they just can't get to that big game? Is that because of Lincoln Riley, or is that just because of dumb luck that's all happened?
I mean, I got a lot of insider info because I was there. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. No. But I will. No, I will say that I don't think it's dumb luck, and I don't think that Lincoln Riley just can't win the big game. I think that y'all have to give the man some time. You have to understand he just went from having Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray to having Spencer Rattler. And no disrespect to him, but he's just quite frankly not ready. By the time Kyler got to play at his tenure, he had sat behind Baker and then played back up to Baker. So by the time he was there, he was seasoned. He was experienced. He knew what he had to do. And again, you're losing big-time receivers here and there. You got to fill all these pieces. And you got to understand, in a lot of Oklahoma's time or history, we have players that we can give the ball to and they make something happen right here, right now. And we don't have to do anything else. Like scoring in one play. Like if you take that out of an offense or you take that out of a defense, a super disruptive pass rusher, then everything else has a domino effect as well. It declines. And so when you have to fill that spot and you don't have that same thing, it's not as easy to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, I think it's just unfortunate for him. If you give him some time, he's putting all the right things together and we can all see that.
I personally have him as my Heisman favorite, and Marvin Mims is up there for the Blitnikoff, for me at least. My top 5. So
I think you're in good company with those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Rattler just looks like, last year he kind of showed a lot of people what he's able to do just with his talent. Now he's got another year under his belt, got another offseason under his belt to where he's going to be able to slow the game down a bit for himself, learn a lot more of what Lincoln Riley wants him to do, which is what Baker's been able to do. Jalen Hurts coming in there, obviously seeing what Kyler Murray is able to do too. So now he's just following right in that line of things.
Exactly.
But back to your time at Oklahoma, Jordan, and then moving into the NFL. So you didn't quite necessarily have the end of your college career like you did at the start. You kind of
Yeah.
maybe fell off a little bit down towards your junior
Man,
and senior
that's so
season, heading into the.
disrespectful to say to me. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I know what you're saying.
I'm
I'm
sure
just
you've
giving
got
you.
these
I'm
questions
giving
before.
you a
You've had
hard.
to have got it.
I'm giving
You've
you a
had to have
hard
gotten
time.
these questions before. So, you had that partial, that MCL injury,
Yeah.
at the later half of one of your seasons, and then a couple of things off the field that we don't necessarily have to dig into. But tell us a little bit about your your adversity that you faced coming out of that, and then going undrafted, and then eventually being picked up by the Eagles in your time with them.
It was tough. To be completely honest, I knew that I was and I still know to this day that I'm a phenomenal player. In my mind, again, better than most. Not saying that I am, but in my mind, I am. But again, dealing with all the adversity, it creates a drive for you, but at the same time, it puts a lot of stress on your body. It's unfortunate that obviously I was young, dumb, and stupid. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Like we all are when we're in college.
You know what I mean? Like I was a
that's
kid. I was growing up. And I don't.
right.
By no means am I ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it by no means. But hey, it was life. I was young. Like if you can show me someone who has a perfect life, then I would literally do whatever you say for the rest of your life. Period. But again, those things kind of make you into a different person, and then obviously they build you in a positive way, and it prepares you for what's to come in the future, because at that point it makes everything 10 times harder. But again, pushing through that, going to the combine, being super weak on the bench press. But again, if you can show me where you have to bench press someone off of your chest while you're laying on your back in football, actually between the whistles, then I would give it more credit than I do. But again, whatever. I would go there. I break the record in the 3-cone drill, which was pretty cool. I was excited.
Right, it was 6.38 or something like
2.8,
that. I think
my
it
buddy.
was
6.28.
2.8.
Yeah.
I got me.
No, it's fine. But yeah, no, so that was super cool for me. Like I really enjoyed that. But the entire experience of the combine, it was miserable. I hated it. They just literally, you're a lab rat, and it just goes to show that, again, you are a piece and a puzzle in all of this. And it's like at the end of the day, everyone's disposable, and it's just like me being in the league, whatever. I got cut for a receiver or whatever that's out there. It was just unfortunate. And then after that, just being bounced around, and again, like you said, I had those off the field issues, and they just haunt you, and it's just it gets difficult from that point. And then, obviously from that point, I went and played in Canada, or I tried out for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Canada. But at that point, I was just kind of not into it. I fell out of love with it a little bit, simply because, I had everything. I accomplished everything I ever wanted to in my life, and then I'm just like, all right, well, now it's just not there anymore. And I'm like, dang, that's like, you just taste it and then it's gone. Like, that's unfortunate. It creates a different drive in you. But again, due to the things that, everything you do in your life matters in today's world. It's just like those things haunted me. And then, it just a domino effect at that point. I'm just snowballing downhill. And then it's just like, I'm not necessarily doing bad as a human being, but it's just like, as far as my career, it's like, goodness, like we're just, falling down. And it's just like, I lost interest a little bit. And it's just like being out of it and then getting hurt. Like when I broke my fractured my femur or whatever, like that changed it, because I was like, I can't walk, and it's just like all I want to do is go outside and run. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I thought. 6 weeks straight, I couldn't put any weight on my life. Like, all I want to do is go outside and run. All I want to do is go outside and run. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it kind of builds that thing, and then obviously I don't have nothing to do but time. I have nothing but time. I'm just like thinking about, okay, well, what happened? What'd you do wrong? And whose fault was it? And it's just like, dang, as horrible as it is, I have to sit there and look at myself like, man, I mean, I knew right from wrong, and yeah, whatever, this, that, and the other. I was like, yeah, okay, but I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I have to admit that, and I have to come to terms with that as a man and admit that. And then it's just like, okay, well, now what are you going to do about it? And that's, the phase where we are now, the recover, the rehab. Okay, well, if you can get in the XFL, let's get in the XFL. And then after that, obviously, I can babysit myself into an NFL contract. Great. freaking wonderful. You know what I'm saying? I've come full circle after going full circle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But again, yeah, that's just the process and how that goes. But I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I mean, I definitely understand. I mean, yeah, I definitely understand. I've been through, you know, a lot of mistakes that I've made in my life as well. I got a DUI right when I got out of college. You know, you make stupid mistakes, and that's something you got to learn from. You know, mistakes ultimately lead you to live a better life, and some of those things happen, and you know, we end up being better people for it. So, I think you know some of those things are blessing in life. So I just wanted to ask, you know, how you went about it, because I know how I went about it. I was very depressed for a long period of time. Wasn't
dude,
doing the
yeah. I
things
mean,
that I got into.
that's what
So.
you want to know, then yeah, for sure.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
was
was
about to
just
say, like,
curious
yeah, like
how
you already
how
know
you
how
faced
it
that
goes.
total adversity,
You
which
know what I
you
mean?
did. So, you're great now. You seem like you're doing well for yourself and everything. I mean, it took me a while to get out of it, but I eventually did. You know, you come out a better person. You realize that I made a mistake, but that's not the end of the world, and I'm gonna move on and be the person that I'm meant to be.
Exactly.
So,
And the main thing I'm sorry, I hate interrupting you, but I don't want to lose
no,
my
you're
train of
good.
thought. You know what I'm saying? But like the
Yeah,
main
you're
things that
good.
those things don't define you. Those things don't make you who you are. And those aren't labels for you, no matter how many times people try to be like, oh well, you're the person that did I mean, like, cool, yeah, you can think that. I don't need you in my life. You know what I'm saying? I'll deuces,
Right.
you know, no negativity.
Exactly.
But like again, that's what I had to come to terms with, you know, and obviously figure out that being, you know what I'm saying, in sports all my life, playing football all my life, is like football is not who you are. And I'm like, all right, well, that one was hard to figure out because I mean, since I could walk, since I could run, I played football. You know what I mean? Like, and I've been never, you know what I'm saying? I never done anything outside of it. And so it's like, you know, that was different as well. But again, you know, whatever. We're here now. We're on the come up. You know what I mean? Comeback season, whatever they be saying. You know. But yeah, that's about it.
Moving into like going off that kind of like not football related, but like, do you have any aspirations? Like, since off the field, you seem to be done. Like, what do you want to do now that you're done with football?
Aspirations as far as what? I mean, I got hobbies, but as aspirations, the only thing I really and truly look forward to as a man in this world is being someone's father. I know that sounds weird and probably odd, but like, to be completely honest, you know, obviously I'm not saying I want to struggle and bring a kid into life, but I'm saying I've been through so much in my life, and, you know, obviously so many ups and downs, so many roller coaster moments. It's like the only thing that's going to make any of it all worth it, like, what did I do all this suffering for, is if I can share it with or give it to someone tenfold. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be someone's father. I want to be someone's husband and be a great one at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are really the only things that are really worth having in life, because money comes and goes. So do your friends. So does majority of your extended family. You know what I mean? Like, how much of your family you actually talk to, bro, outside of your people you live in your house? You don't call your aunts on a regular. You don't call your uncles on a regular. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, for me, if I can build my own family, if I can have my own, this is me and this is what I built for me, like, that's the most beautiful thing on the planet to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll toss it back over to, you know, football standpoint here. And when you were in college, or, you know, whether you were the Eagles or whatever, you know, who was, you know, the hardest person that you ever had to go up against on that other side of the ball?
Okay, dude, like, what do you at, like, a receiver or what? Because I played against Pat
Yeah,
Mahomes.
like
I played against
when you lined up against somebody, who was the toughest guy that you ever had to line up against that you were like, I just can't do it. I just can't cover this man.
I am a killer on the inside, so I would never say that. But I understand. But I understand the question.
Never admit it. Never
I
admit
understand
it.
the question. I will say I had the most trouble with, I don't know. To be completely honest, I don't really struggle with anybody. But if they were faster than not, like the DDs and the Marquises, if I don't get a hand on them, they're outrunning me, and I hated it. They were just so fast. You know what I'm saying? If you don't touch them, and I'm flat-footed, and he trying to backpedal, and he's running at me, naturally, he's gonna outrun me. But again, that's if I don't get my hands on him. You know what I'm saying? But just people who are super fast. But I'm just going to rattle off a few of the receivers I did have to cover or played against, and it wasn't fun. Like Mike Williams, I played against Mike Williams. I played against Tyreek Hill. Tyler Lockett, I played against Kevin White. Oh,
God, that's not a fun memory for Bears fans.
Yeah, like, I know. I played against a lot of people, and then obviously on my team, everyone on my team. But yeah, I don't know. But I will say Pat Mahomes is probably the greatest player I played against. Right?
Yeah,
but I
that's
guess
got to
I
be
did.
fun, seeing him and what he's doing now, and then playing against him and all of
Yeah.
that. There was something that came to my mind. I forgot it for a second, but I'll think of it here in a second, Ethan. So go ahead.
Yeah, and obviously playing for Oklahoma, you have the Oklahoma-Texas Red River rivalry. So do you have any like special memories from that game? Seeing as that's probably one of the more intense rivalries, definitely top 5 in college football.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't even remember what year it was. Probably 16. I don't know. I don't remember, but I was just going crazy in the first half. I think I had like 4 pass breakups. I should have had probably a couple picks, but I didn't. A couple big hits, I think. But then, funny enough, literally second half of the game, I get bombed on twice, and it's just like I either missed the ball by half inch, or I just. Poor guy. I don't even know. It was just insane. But I was just like, those were the only 2 other passes I think I really gave up the whole entire game, and they were just ridiculous. And I like my mind was blown because I think one went right through my hands. But either way, I had the greatest first half defensively that I had ever had in a long time, and it was pretty dope.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I can't remember what my other question was. So that's pretty much all I had. So Ethan, if you have anything else for Jordan, go ahead and ask him.
Yeah. Just one more about the NIL, just because that's new. You're a former player, and as far as we know, Oklahoma didn't pay you. So, what's your opinion on the NIL?
You want to talk about that? So, I think it's unfortunate that it didn't happen sooner, so that we could all reap the benefits. But, I don't know. I mean, it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. But me personally, I am upset. I am so upset. But I don't know. I just don't understand how it really works. I can sit here and like look through the rules and like what the rules and all the regulations of it are. But like until I fully understand like the depth of how like what exactly they can and can't and how frequently these payments can happen, like we're talking about like salary money though as a college student playing football. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, who they were talking about? What's the Alabama quarterback's name? And Nick Saban was talking about how he's getting close to 6 figures. I'm like, that's insane.
Not 7 figures, not 6 figures. He made
7
figures.
7 figures.
He made 6 figures day one. He's making 7 figures now.
I don't know, man.
It's like, well, damn. I wish I could have got paid that.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
crazy.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just crazy to think that obviously someone just like Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray or like obviously I'm saying them and I'm not trying to obviously single them out all the time, but I'm saying they were the quarterback who won the Heisman, both of them. So like, how much money are people going to pay you because every single person in the country is going to want you to come and do something for them? Like once the demands become so high, do your prices go up or do you just pick and choose where to go? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen talking with some players that I have another podcast I'm working on sponsoring a couple, it's really just they're going to pick and choose. Obviously, the bigger ones are only going to get back to the bigger companies, but smaller time athletes are going to get the $20 to $50 to $100 little shout out on Instagram for like a 24-hour post.
See, then they're gonna start making people hate people. They're gonna start.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna create a divide in the locker room.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely gonna affect the team chemistry. Like, bro, like I'm not talking to you. Like you making this. Like our checks are actually different now. When literally just last year we were all getting the same stipends or whatever, scholar, whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they were getting, I'm not there. So it's different to think that, okay, well now that's all different now. Like you make more money than my parents. You know what I'm saying? Like on some weird stuff. Some kids probably will. They were saying Archie Manning was projected to make $1 million or something crazy. Like,
coming in from our coming in from our comment section, Brandon wants to know, how soft do you think it is that they're cracking down on the horns down? I wanted to ask this, but I forgot. Thank you, Brandon, for reminding me, and thank you for taking this.
Brandon, you're great. Dude, that's so trash. I know you saw me earlier. It's just like it's a little girl thing. Like, come on, like you're offended because we're putting the horns down. If we just did something good and y'all were us and we were y'all would do the same thing. It's unfortunate that y'all are Texas, you know what I mean? And y'all take so much pride in it. Like, don't get your feelings hurt. It's a part of the game. Like, it's football. It ain't swimming.
Right.
If you want to, you know what I'm saying, want a soft sport, go get in the water, boy.
Go play soccer.
Yeah. No, I like soccer. Soccer is actually super scary sport. So, yeah, go get in the water, even though swimming is too. But, swimming's soft. It's singular. You get to be in the water. You get to feel all pretty, whatever. Yeah. It's inside. I hate it. I just think that however that came about, they had to come from the school complaining, which is pretty pathetic. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously had to be Texas complaining about it. Like, I mean, there's no other way. But isn't there like or don't they like shoot a cannonball through like another team's jersey or something? Like, pretty sure they played LSU a couple years ago. They shot a cannonball through LSU's jersey. So how's that any different than? Yeah, right. That's worse than putting the horns down, in my opinion. Like, what are you?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I don't know what else. I don't know what else to do about it. I'm still gonna do it. I'll take my 15-yard penalty if I was in college.
Right.
That's tradition.
Yeah, coach can make me run lines or whatever he wants to at practice on Monday, so that'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I'm cool.
Going off tradition, I actually have one more final question that you just reminded me of. What's your opinion on Oklahoma, Texas giving the middle finger to the Big 12 and moving to the SEC? As a former,
I'm super excited because they all talk about, oh, the SEC is this, the SEC is that, oh, the Big 12 is not this, the Big 12 is not that. I'm like, all right. I'm sure you guys anyone have a laptop up? Y'all can pull up the all-time record of Oklahoma versus SEC schools. Anybody?
I'm sure
I'm looking up right now. I'm looking up right now.
Yeah.
The last 2 decades, Oklahoma's 8-6 against the SEC. If you included since 2000 that Texas A&M and Missouri were members of the Big 12, since 2000, Oklahoma would be 10-3 against A&M, 7-1. What the hell? One time, screw fan-sided.
Thank you. That was
well, above 500 anyway.
Yeah, y'all are above 500 by a long shot.
No, I already know the deal, but I'm just saying, like, it is going to be interesting. And then, obviously, it's going to change. I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of SEC football because they talk so highly of it. So I refuse.
Yeah, like hearing the SEC chant everywhere you go. Like, you go to a SEC game and they're chanting SEC. It's like, don't y'all have teams y'all don't like in your own conference?
Right. Like,
you don't hear ACC doing that. You don't hear Big 12 doing that. You don't hear Pac-12 doing it. Big 10 definitely doesn't do it. What are you what are you doing?
Hey, Jordan, I found it. 110 wins, 48 losses, and 8 ties.
See, that doesn't sound like we're gonna have a lot of problems, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, every time I've played the SEC, I think I've only lost to ACC teams in the playoffs. Oh, I lied. I lost to Georgia. But that was again, I got insider information. I just can't you know what I mean? I just can't let that go. But again, besides that SEC loss, I never really. I mean, let me think. See, now I got me thinking. I played Clemson, and Clemson, they beat us both times. And then Auburn, we beat, and then Georgia. Right?
I don't know about Caleb. I keep thinking of questions like right now as like we were about to end it. But like,
that's okay. Ask away.
Did you ever have a moment? Did you ever have a moment of a player that you just like completely owned? You beat him and he didn't get a catch on you, and you were just able to rub it in his face the entire game. Like, yeah, I just completely whooped your ass the entire game.
Baylor, the year Baylor was really good. They had a receiver, Corey Coleman. He got drafted number 15 overall. Yep. He won the Biletnikoff Award. He had 20 touchdowns before playing us and after he played us, he had 2 catches for 53 yards or 51 yards or something, or maybe even less than that. But I remember one of the catches it wasn't even on me, so like it didn't matter. So it was really one catch or maybe like 12 yards on me, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's supposed to be big and macho, gets drafted 15 overall, and I'm like, poor guy.
Lock
Who
his
is
ass
he?
down.
Yeah, who is he?
Lock his ass down.
Who is he? Nah,
Is that one of
but
those like were you okay? Another
I'm a,
question here. Were you a
I'm,
talker? Were you a talker, or did you let your game speak for itself? Because
I'm
coming
all
from
the
Florida
I'm all
State,
the above.
I know nothing.
I'm
I
all
know
the
nothing
above.
but talk.
I'm all the above. No, I don't know. It just depends on the day. Like I have my moments where I'm whatever you can't even open your mouth without me insulting you or no, you know what I'm saying? Just saying something disrespectful because I just was having a bad day. But there was also some days where I would literally just be in there just quiet, just zombie. Today's just it's not my day, but like I'm just in the zone today. Like
I'm not gonna mess with you. Like,
yeah, I'm not even talking to you. Like, don't even say nothing to me. Like, we're not even friends. We're not even like, get out of here.
Because it came out like when I was in school, so 2013 through 2017 is when I went to school at Florida State. So I had Jalen Ramsey, and it came out after Jalen graduated that he used to like look up and like the dude's girlfriend on the other side. He used to talk trash to her or talk trash to him about his girlfriend. I'm like, Jalen was a dog that way. He just never shut up. And so like it was just like I'm used to that. So I just didn't know what type of corner you were when you stepped up.
I mean, it just depends on my day, you know. Like I don't know. Like I love football to death, but like I'll be completely honest with you. A lot of the stuff that I remember from football is because I watched it on film. Like, I'm a different person when I'm in between the lines. I'm blank. My body does stuff. I don't react. I don't read nothing. My body moves. That's it. I kid you not. Like
that's awesome.
I don't remember any of my interceptions from first person view. I watch it from the wide angle, pimp. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Oh goodness. But yeah, I don't know. When I'm playing, I go to another place because I know that my body's just gonna have to get through it. Whatever the heck is gonna happen, it's just gonna have to get through it. Period.
All right, Ethan. Anything else, my brother?
Why not? Do you have any other players that you just really wanted to play against?
That I really wanted to play?
That you didn't get to? Like either all time or just players that play at the same time as you?
Dude, I really wanted to play against Saquon when I was playing. That would have been insane. Because like you have to understand, like I got Joe Mixon, I got Samaje Perine, I got Rodney Anderson. So I got a lot of great backs that are gonna do great things. But like I want to see Saquon, you know, like that's different. I see you on TV too.
Right.
Like I watch me, I'm like, you do some cool stuff. Like I don't know where the hell you've been the beginning of our you know what I'm saying, our 4-year tenure, but like whatever you've been doing these last 2 years, keep doing it because I like it. He was impressive. I actually walked shoulder to shoulder, literally by him in the combine, and when I looked at him, I was, bro, like you're not little, but I just expect you run like and all your film makes you look like you're just a giant, but either way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jordan, we want to thank you for coming on here, man. We appreciate your time, especially on your break from work, man. If you want to give any shout outs before you log off, go ahead.
Man, shout out y'all for stalking me and having me on the show. I'm actually super excited. Like I'm glad I got to be here with you guys. I didn't know what to expect, but it was actually really great to be here. Sorry I left you guys waiting, you know, but shout out my mom and my dad for putting me here for y'all to look at me. Shout out all my fans. If y'all still rocking with me, give me some time. We coming back. Just keep it on the low. And outside of that, man, follow your dreams and don't let anyone tell you can't do anything, you know?
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you again, man. And we'll be in touch. I'll probably, get your number and stuff from Ethan since he was the one bugging you all the time and everything, because he was a boob and everything. But we'd love to stay in touch with you, man. Love to have you on again at some time. And have a good weekend, man. We're coming up on it, so enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Y'all be safe and y'all take care. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Later.
Well, Ethan, that was probably one of my favorite interviews ever.
Yeah.
Jordan, very, very down to earth person. Been through a lot throughout his college career, and then going into the NFL, getting cut, having to deal with injuries, and trying to build his life from there. Seems like a really good guy. Somebody that a lot of people can learn stuff from. So, your thoughts on him at all before we go ahead and get into this ACC preview?
Honestly, like you said, one of our best interviews ever. Definitely one of the most down-to-earth people. It's great to hear about his experiences as probably one of the better players of Oklahoma's secondary in their history. It's especially incredible since he was only a 3-star coming out of high school. Great player. I really hope he bounces back. That's what he wants to do with his life. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoyed that. Hope that we keep in contact with Jordan. Absolutely. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our little ACC preview. If you guys haven't been here in the previous shows, Ethan and all of his guests, since I wasn't able to be here, I've just been kind of going over the over and unders for each team of each conference. We started off with the group of 5. We've worked our way through conferences: Pac-12, Big 12. We've done Big 10 as well, I believe. So now we're down to the ACC and the SEC, which will be SEC will be next week. This week we're going to ACC. So go ahead and start us off with the first team, Ethan. What do we have?
Boston College, over under 7 wins.
All right. So over looks like it's over 7 is looking at -148, under 7 looking at plus money at 115. Just going over their schedule real quick. Colgate, at UMass, at Temple, at home against Missouri, at Clemson, at home against NC State, going on the road for 2 more games against Louisville, Syracuse, at home against Virginia Tech, on the road against Georgia Tech, and then back home for 2 more games to end off the season against Florida State and Wake Forest. What are your initial thoughts? Are you going to be leaning here over or under?
I'm leaning over for sure. I'm not seeing too many games besides that Clemson, Louisville, and Virginia Tech game that I'm like completely iffy on them. So already right there, if I give them the rest of that, that's 9-3. Obviously, they'll choke a couple potentially, but that's still the over.
I like them on the over too. They are still under a semi-new head coach here, but he was able to do some things that a lot of people weren't expecting his past season, and so and their schedule really lines up nice and easy for them. They get Florida State and Virginia Tech at home, which works well in their favor moving forward. And then they start the year off with UMass and Colgate and Temple. So I really like them to go over 7, maybe look around and see if you can get better value there, better than -148, because, you're putting almost $1.50 for a dollar that you earn. So if you can find better value elsewhere, go ahead.
Yep. And then moving right into Clemson, over under 11.5. So do they go undefeated or no? Starting off.
Not sure.
You're starting off with Georgia. That's where that 11.5 comes in. Because then you have South Carolina State, Georgia Tech, NC State, Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, Florida State, Louisville, Connecticut, Wake Forest, and South Carolina.
So the big game is obviously the first game of the year, because you could really see, them being able to move through that schedule fairly easily. But it all depends on what the quarterback play is and if he stays healthy. 11.5, it's right on the edge there. Throwing a freshman in against Georgia right off the bat is pretty tough. I probably would lean under 11.5 just because it's a half game. You could even probably buy that up maybe in some places depending on where you get your book. I would lean under there, under 11.5. If you can get it at 11, maybe just go ahead and take over 11, because even if they lose that first game, there's a good chance that they still go out the rest of the year undefeated. If it's at 11, go over. 11.5, go under. But they might slip up. Not sure. It's going to be a first taste for DJ Ukulele. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do. But that's really what it's going to hinge on. They've got star players all over the field, like Clemson has been able to do pretty much for the last part of the past 10 years. They've got stars. They got people in there now to be able to make plays at all areas of the field. So I would take the under 11.5. What are your thoughts?
No, I'm probably going to go with the over here, just because I do believe that in DJ Ukulele, I believe in him and Dabo.
Ukulele.
Yeah, ukulele, whatever. I do believe in him. I think that Georgia game's tough, but it's not like they have a very solid third, fourth-year starter quarterback either. You have JT Daniels,
Right.
who lost his job to a walk-on, I believe. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And for you guys, we're going through the ACC Atlantic side to start, and then we'll get into the coastal. So we're not going in alphabetical order here, so just an FYI for you guys.
Yeah. But
and then I guess I'll take this one then. Going over from Clemson, we got Florida State, who used to dominate the Atlantic side of things before Clemson kind of became a powerhouse. Florida State sitting at either over 5.5 or under 5.5. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm looking through the schedule. Notre Dame should be a loss, but then you have JSU, Wake Forest, 2 wins. Then you have Louisville. That's close. Syracuse should be a win. UNC, loss. UMass, win. Clemson, loss. NC State, win. Miami, loss. Boston College, loss. Florida, loss. That's 5 guaranteed in what, 2 or 3 toss-ups? Yeah. I'll take the odds. I'll give them 1 game over. I think they finished the regular season 6-6.
Right. I think I'm right there with you. I have them at 6-6. I think that's exactly where Florida State needs to be this year is 6-6. If they go better than 6-6, that's fantastic. If they go under, then it's a disappointing season. Like you said, there's a bunch of toss-up games there. I mean, you could say, Louisville a toss-up game, NC State probably a toss-up game, Boston College probably toss-up game as well. I also can see Florida State doing something similar that they did last year, win a game that they're not supposed to win. They beat the number 5 team in the country last year against North Carolina. But then again, you can also look at and say they could lose a game that they're not supposed to lose. So it'll be Jimmy coming here and said, go easy on the Cardinals, guys. We had a very unlucky season last year. Yeah, we'll get to your Cardinals in a little bit. I'm very high on, Louisville's head coach there, Scott Satterfield. So we'll talk about them a little bit later. But speaking of Florida State, I think they get to 6 wins. I think they go 6-6, make it to a bowl game. And if they win that bowl game, go 7-6, it'll be a positive outlook for Mike Norvell and the team moving forward. And maybe Florida State can get back in that conversation with Clemson.
Yeah. Then moving into Louisville.
There you go.
Right at over under 7 wins. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. I got to look at the schedule, but as of right now, I think that's questionable. You're starting off with Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral. That's going to be a tough game because Corral is a potential Heisman contender. It's tough. I'll give Louisville the edge, but that's a toss-up. Eastern Kentucky, if you lose that, you're pathetic. Moving into UCF, you should lose that. Moving into Florida State, if you lose that, you're pathetic. Wake Forest should be an easy win. Virginia, that's always a toss-up. Boston College, toss-up. NC State win. Clemson loss. Syracuse win. Duke win.
Duke should be a win.
And Kentucky should be a win, but a toss-up. So what's that? 4 or 5 wins and then 3 or 4 toss-ups?
Yeah.
I feel more confident.
I think they're in my opinion, I think there's a little bit more toss-ups than you probably give them credit for. But they're I mean, like I said, I like, Scott Satterfield. Malik Cunningham's coming back at the quarterback position. He's very, very athletic, very talented quarterback there, can really run the ball. He needs to get control of his turnovers. So that's going to be a real big thing for them. And then, Shy Ward's coming in there as well as a dual threat quarterback for them is going to be interesting. He's going to be lining up for wide receiver. So their money is right on the line, in my opinion. 7, they should probably move it down to maybe 6.5. So then you have to go up either over or under there. But if I were to say, I'd probably put them right at Florida State level, going 6-6. So I would ride with the under.
Yeah, I'm riding at the under with them also. Then moving into another 6 team. This is actually at 6, NC State. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So NC State, pretty interesting going through their schedule. Start off against USF, which should be a win. Then they had the Mississippi State, which will be probably a very fun game to watch. Taking on Furman, then Clemson, Louisiana Tech, at Boston College, and at Miami, back-to-back weeks. That's going to be tough for them. Then they have to go to they come back home against Louisville, and then again have to go on the road to Florida State and Wake Forest. Come back home for Syracuse and end the year against North Carolina. So looking at that, let me see here. I'll count mine up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would go with 5 wins, so I would take the under 6 here for them. NC State.
I like the under here also, especially because USF is technically a questionable game in my opinion. I'm not going to give them the free win. So
okay, I mean I'll take that, but under 6 here seems like a reasonable thing, but it's minus 159. If you can get that better elsewhere, go ahead if you can. Well, I guess under 6 is at plus 125 for them, so that's actually pretty good value. If you lean to the over there, that's minus 159, which I don't understand why you would. So if you can grab NC State under 6 at plus 125, you can go ahead and grab that. They've got a pretty decently tough schedule, so that's what looks there for them. And then we'll head over to Syracuse, probably the lowest of all of these ACC teams here at 3.5 wins. Over or under here for you, Ethan?
Oh, no. You're starting off with the Bobcats of Ohio. Not necessarily the best, but still, the MAC scores a lot, and they let up a lot of points. So it really depends if Syracuse can either stop them or put up more points than them. I'm not sure if Syracuse can do that. So I'll call Syracuse a win here, but you never know. Rutgers next. Rutgers is, as we said when we went over the Big Ten, me, Garrett, and Ben, Rutgers are a surprising team this year. Rutgers should have taken the win this year. So I'll give them a 2-0 start. Then you got Albany, 3-0. Liberty, Lake Willis should tear them apart. Then you got Florida State. Even Florida State could win this game. Wake Forest, that's a total of 4 wins. So that's already over for me. But then you have Clemson, Virginia Tech, Boston College, Louisville, NC State, and Pittsburgh. You can win at least 1 to 3 of those.
Yeah,
So
you could probably win. Yeah, you could probably win one of those games that you're not supposed to win. It's all about the start of the season for the Syracuse team. If they start off 3-0 against Ohio, Rutgers, and Albany, that is going to be a positive for them heading into the rest of the season. And you can at least get one more win the rest of the season if you start off 3-0. There's no reason you should lose out the rest of the season there, even though you do have a decently tough schedule. You should be able to have a lot of confidence going into some of those games. So I do like the over there, and the over 3.5 is actually at plus money at plus 105. So I will sit there right with you and, sit there with the over 3.5 there for the Syracuse Orange. And then we'll go ahead and end out the ACC Atlantic side of things, and we'll talk about Wake Forest sitting at over or under 6.5 wins. The over 6.5 is at minus 134, and the under is at plus money at plus 105.
All right. Old Dominion win, Norfolk State win, Florida State toss-up, Virginia toss-up, Louisville toss-up, Syracuse win, Army should be a win, Duke should be a win, UNC loss, NC State should be a win, Clemson loss, Boston College toss-up. That's 6 right there with 2 toss-ups. Or 3 toss-ups, one of the 2.
They should start off 2-0. Florida State most likely definitely going to be a loss at Virginia. Toss up, but Virginia is always a decent team, so I would say Virginia probably wins that, especially with Wake Forest being on the road. So you start off 3-1, which is not horrible. Louisville probably lose at Syracuse. I would say is more of a toss up. At Army should win. Duke, who knows? North Carolina lose. NC State lose. Clemson lose. Boston College lose. So I've got them sitting at right about 5 to 6 wins. So I still would take the under here. It's plus money. I would go. But Athlon's sitting here saying they love the over here. If they can find some defense, they can find some defense. They can, easily maybe go 5-1 is what Athlon Sports is saying out of the defense. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Not everybody counts out Wake Forest, and somehow they end up, having at least a decent season. Not a good season, not an above average season, not a great season. They always just end up being okay, and that is probably why a lot of people are maybe leaning towards the over 6.5 here for Wake Forest. So be interesting to see. Probably maybe the most interesting team besides, a Syracuse or maybe even a Florida State team here in the ACC Atlantic part of the conference. So I'm taking the under, you're taking the over. So that'll be interesting to see. And with that being said, we'll move into the Coastal, and I'll let you lead it off.
All right, Duke at 3.5. Not the best team, although they do have a potential revenge game coming up But first, they have Charlotte, should be a win, but then you have the revenge game with North Carolina A&T. Can the Aggies get revenge? No. Duke starts off the season 2-0 before losing to Northwestern. Then they beat Kansas. So they're 3-1.
Right, which is not bad. Gain some momentum.
Not bad at all. But then you have UNC, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Wake Forest, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville, Miami.
You have to think they win at least one of those.
Really?
Maybe. I mean, it depends. You never know who's going to have a bad game. You look at their home against Georgia Tech. We don't really know what Georgia Tech's going to be this year, even though they showed a little bit of promise last year. And, although we don't like Duke's team, David Cutcliffe has been known to do a lot with a little. I don't know if that's just me that sees that, but David Cutcliffe has been at Duke for a while. He's turned quarterbacks that we don't really know into something. And I mean, not something, but, a serviceable quarterback to be able to get the job done and be able to compete in some games that he can't compete in. So, I mean, for that reason, you look at games like a Georgia Tech game or at Wake Forest, some of those games right there, those two games are going to be important for them if they're going to reach the over here. I'm going to lean towards the over just because of I have a lot of belief in David Cutcliffe and the job that he does with his teams.
I see it, but I'm still going the under. I don't trust it. Then moving into the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Moved away from the triple option finally a couple years ago. Does this team have any hope with a new offensive scheme? Who knows? But over under a 5. They're starting it off with 2 easy wins with Northern Illinois and Kennesaw State. I mean, who knows? But they definitely should be able to take those 2 games. Then you have Clemson, UNC, the 2 best teams in your conference. So you're starting 2-2. Then you have Pitt, Duke, Virginia, Virginia Tech. That's 1-1 there. I'll give them. So they're 3-3. Then you have Virginia, Virginia Tech, Miami, Boston College, Notre Dame, and Georgia. I don't like any over bet here unless it's over 3.5.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I know a lot of people, including, Josh Pate of 247 Sports, pretty high on Georgia Tech and what they're building over there. I am a big fan of what they're building over there as well. I think they're doing a tremendous job in trying to build a culture, build something different than the triple option, of what they had going on for the past centuries worth of football. And they're trying to change it. And it's actually, coming along a lot faster than a lot of us probably originally thought. But I think 5 here is a little bit too high, especially with the end of their schedule being as tough as it is. You're going to start getting worn down, maybe guys with injuries. You're not going to be able to have it all towards the end of the year. So I like the under here for Georgia Tech of 5 wins.
Yeah, it should be definitely under.
Yeah, and then we'll move on here. And we'll go to Miami. The U sitting at 9.5 wins. Over 9.5 is at plus 115. Under 9.5 at minus 148. Looking at their schedule real quick, they lead off the year against Alabama. Then they go and play App State down there in Coral Gables and Michigan State as well in Coral Gables. Then they play Central Connecticut and Virginia all at home. So they got a 4-game stretch here at home after they play Alabama and Atlanta. Then they go on the road to North Carolina, come back home for NC State at Pitt, then come back home for Georgia Tech, visit Florida State there in Tallahassee, come back home for Virginia Tech, and then play at Duke.
If they can win at least one of the Bama, App State, and UNC games, they got the over. All they need to do is win one of them. Obviously, it's not going to be the Bama. So you just need to win one of the Appalachian State or the North Carolina games.
Yep. I can agree with you. My only question is the health of De'Aaron King. If he goes down, what's going to happen? If De'Aaron King is not healthy, what is going to happen to this Miami team? I have no idea. I can't tell you what's going to happen to them, what's not going to happen to them. But if they can keep him healthy, I think this is an easy over for them to hit. If they lose that first game against Alabama, which I believe they do, I think they come out on all cylinders firing for the rest of the season. and it's all going to rely on the health of De'Aaron King. But I will bet the over and say De'Aaron King will be healthy for all of next season.
All right, moving right in to North Carolina. 10 wins. That's a lot for a team they're on the up. I mean,
they are on the up.
They're favored for a 5-star linebacker over Clemson. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But UNC Virginia Tech first game, started off conference season right away. Should be a win. Georgia State should be a win. Virginia should be a win. Georgia Tech should be a win. Duke should be a win. Florida State should be a win.
All right, but let's talk about this three. Let's talk about this 3 games. This 3-game stretch is what's going to be the biggest impact on North Carolina's season right here.
Yeah.
October 9th, Florida State, Miami, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Those 3 games are going to be very imperative to how North Carolina's season turns out. If you lose that first game against Florida State, which I don't think they lose, I think they win that game, especially being at home. But you can't get complacent knowing that Miami's coming the week afterwards.
Yeah.
So you don't want to look ahead. Florida State could be that look ahead game, and you don't want to get caught in that. I think they'll be ready for it, especially what happened after last season. But there's always that question mark, especially when you got a 3-game stint right here of tough teams. Is Florida State the Florida State that they used to be? No, but it's still Florida State. And it's still a tough game. I mean, if you think about it, Mac Brown has never won against Florida State. I think he's like 0-11 all time. He's never beaten Florida State, whether he's at North Carolina, whether he's at Texas, no matter where he's at. He's never beaten Florida State. So that's always a tough game for him. And then you got to play Miami the week after that, and then a week and a half after that, you play at Notre Dame. So that's not easy.
Yeah, it's really not. I'm just going out on a limb just to make it easy. They should be Florida State. We'll call it a beaten Florida State. Just to say, for making it easier on us. Can they beat either Miami or Notre Dame?
That Miami game is going to be tremendous. That Notre Dame game is going to be tremendous. I don't know. Say they beat Florida State, which they should, and they go 1-1 Miami Notre Dame, then they're on the right path. But if they lose both those games, then they're sitting right at 10. I think 10 is the right number for this line. I think 10 is right there. I think they might lose both of those games. I mean, maybe since they get Miami at home, that's a little bit better, but who knows? They might have been looking ahead and not play as good of a game as they originally thought to. Maybe Miami and Manny Diaz takes a little bit of something that Mike Norvell was doing with Florida State if Florida State keeps it close, and then they're able to utilize that the following week. So I say 10's right on the number. It's a really big pick'em in my opinion. It's going to be interesting.
I agree with the pick'em just because I want to have a side and not be like you. I want to choose the over.
All right. I'll take the under. I'll take the under 10. We'll be on opposite sides on this one. I just think that 3-game stretch could be really detrimental to them. Who knows? They could lose all 3. They could, lose to Florida State, win the next 2. We never know what's going to happen there. It'll be interesting. Sam Howell hopefully takes that 3rd-year leap that quarterbacks are supposed to do, going into this next season. So it'll be interesting for sure for North Carolina. That's going to be a team that everybody should want to tune into. With that being said, we'll move into our next team, and that's going to be Pitt.
Yeah, over under 7. This is a very underrated team. Pitt always finds a way to put a very good team on the field with limited players. They're not getting those 5 stars. They're not getting the best player of all time from high school on their team, and yet they're still playing out bowl game-worthy teams. And they're starting off with some relatively easy games with the UMass, Tennessee, Western Michigan, New Hampshire. Obviously, I call Tennessee the easy game because it's Tennessee.
And a new head coach.
Yeah, new head coach, all that. Yeah, no. So all soon they start 4-0. Then you have Georgia Tech. They should win. Virginia Tech should win, but it's a toss-up. Clemson lost. Miami lost. Duke win. UNC lost. Virginia and Syracuse wins.
Yeah, I think this is an easy over.
Yeah.
I like them. I like them easily to go over 7. I don't really want to talk much about Pitt. They've got a great coaching staff. They're always going to bring it on defense. I'm a big fan of the Pitt over 7 here.
Yep. Then moving into the Virginia Cavaliers, over under of 6.
Virginia's an interesting team. I think it's just based off their schedule, really. William Mary, Illinois, Wake Forest, Louisville, Duke, Georgia Tech,
UNC.
and then UNC, Pitt. It's not a too terribly difficult schedule, but I think I still would lean to the under. I don't think Virginia's going to be necessarily the team that we're used to. I think they might, regress a little bit more than they usually do after a season that they had last year where they kind of played a little bit above their what they were supposed to. We'll see if that's the case. I'm probably wrong. We'll see what Illinois is able to do. That'll be an interesting test game for them to see what type of Virginia team we're going to see, because Illinois and Virginia, in my opinion, are kind of right there with each other when I look at teams in their comparable divisions and in their comparable conferences. So it'll be interesting. They're sitting at 6. I would say they're probably right around there, but I think I'm going to lean under 6.
Yeah.
Just don't trust them a whole lot.
Yep. And then Virginia Tech. What do you like? All right. For some reason, I got closed out of that. So can you read it off for over under?
Yeah. Virginia Tech's over under is sitting at 7, plus money at the over, minus 135 on the under. I'm agreeing with the under here. You start off with North Carolina, then play Middle Tennessee at home, which should be a win. Then head to West Virginia, probably a loss. West Virginia's, they started to turn it up a little bit last year at the end of the year. Richmond, so you probably start off 2-2, then go to Notre Dame, probably a loss. Pitt, probably toss-up game. Syracuse wins, so you can put them at 3-3 at this point. At Georgia Tech, toss-up game in my opinion. At Boston College, probably a loss. Duke should be a win, and then at Miami and at Virginia. I don't really know. 7's probably a good number for them. I just don't know if they can get there. I'm not real sure about their quarterback and Braxton Burmeister, excuse me. Defense did not do a whole lot last year. They gave up probably over 35 points per game last season, to where that's not what you're used to from a Virginia Tech, team.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they can correct that. If they don't correct that, it's definitely going under.
For sure, I'm going under here.
Yeah, so that's our last team of our ACC over-unders and our ACC preview. With that being said, you guys have been looking at our ticker the whole night. Head over to mybookie.ag, use code USN100 for double your first deposit. Put in $50, get $50 free to put on whatever you want. College football season's 2.5 weeks away. Awesome stuff we got going on there. Head over to rxhemp.com, use code RXHemp-USN for 10% off every single one of your purchases, guys. That is all natural CBD pain relief cream. Use it on sore back, use it on aching knees, whatever. Head over to our USN shop, teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Get all of your unwrapped merchandise and apparel needs there, guys. All your favorite shows, all your regular merchandise, a bunch of different cool styles that we got rocking over there. But with that being said, we had a great show tonight. We had our ACC preview. We had an awesome interview with former Oklahoma University cornerback Jordan Thomas. Really down-to-earth guys. Really down-to-earth guy. If you guys haven't, if you weren't able to catch us early on in the show, go back. We're going to be downloading the podcast as well. Go listen to us on Apple, iTunes, on Spotify, Pandora, wherever you listen to your podcast, guys. Go ahead and look us up, find us, listen to all of them. I'm going to be downloading all these, putting them all on there. I've been MIA for the past 3 weeks. So Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10, I'm going to be uploading all those here within the next 2 days or so. You'll be able to listen to all those and today's as well. Bunch of interviews, bunch of ACC previews, bunch of conference previews, bunch of good stuff. You can follow me at CHS Noel. Also follow at Saturday Standouts on Twitter as well. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to you, Ethan. Go ahead and sign us off for tonight, my brother.
Follow me at Ethan_Carboni on Twitter. Check out my other shows. I plug them in every other show. I just want to get this done with because this was such a good episode. So thank you all for tuning in.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. And that's been another episode of Saturday Standouts.